You're listening to the Rural Remix podcast feed, your source for deeper, richer stories about life in rural places. Welcome to Living Traditions, a podcast about folk and traditional arts in Central Appalachia. I'm your host, Nicole Musgrave. This week, we're airing part 2 of a 3-part series from reporter Anya Patron-Slepian. The series is called Mud in the Blood, and it's about contemporary artists who are maintaining pre-industrial pottery practices in western North Carolina. Last week, we heard about a pair of potters from Bakersville who produced their own clay bodies out of local clay dirt from their community. This week, we travel to Cherokee. Cherokee people have been making pottery in the mountains of western North Carolina for nearly 3,000 years. But after centuries of colonization and targeted cultural oppression, there are relatively few Cherokee potters carrying on the art form today. But thanks to a community-led pottery workshop, a new generation of Cherokee potters is emerging. They're sustaining age-old traditions while building a contemporary practice of their own. Anya Patron-Slepian has the story.
In a field on the outskirts of the Qualla boundary, next to a 2-lane road, Levi West is sitting under a picnic shelter. He's shaping a pinch pot out of a ball of clay.
I would start with my clay, kind of get it into a cylinder. You're just going to take and put your thumb in and slowly work your way around.
He works the brown clay with his hands, forming a small bowl. He sets it aside and grabs another handful of clay. It's a bit dry, so he sprinkles it with water and begins to work it into a long coil shape.
So now maybe it won't crack on us.
Levi is demonstrating the first steps of building a traditional Cherokee coil pot. He sets the coil on top of the pinch pot base and begins to smooth it with his thumb, connecting it to the bowl. He'll keep on adding coils until the pot reaches the height and width that he wants.
Try to smooth out things and get it like the most symmetrical I could. It takes a bunch of different angles and getting down and looking at things.
Levi took his first pottery class in 2022. Less than 3 years later, he won first place in traditional pottery at the 112th Cherokee Indian Fair. He was excited to win the award, but the real prize was beating his mentor, renowned Cherokee potter Tara McCoy.
I really wanted to beat her at the fair, just to kind of make her proud, not like I want to be better than her. I just wanted to make her proud and show her that, what you did was really meaningful.
Levi's introduction to ceramics was through a pottery program led by Tara and supported by the Museum of the Cherokee People. Now in its 4th year, the workshop currently goes by the name Tiranesiski Garwatli, or the Muddauber Community Workshop. It's a nod to the story of how a wasp helped create the first Cherokee pot. Tara started this 3-month program because she was concerned about the decline in the number of Cherokee potters. Dakota Brown oversees the pottery program in her role as Director of Education at the museum. She's been amazed by the results of Tara's program over the last 4 years.
The success that she's had with doing what she originally set out to do, which was increase ceramic artists in her community, and make sure that pottery continued on for future generations. That's what she set out to do. To see how fast that's happened just from her class is crazy.
Since 2022, more than 40 students have participated in the workshop. Tara teaches her students a wide range of skills, including how to dig and process clay, and how to hand build and fire pots. For Levi, Tara's mentorship was transformative.
I found something I love, and I don't know, I could never repay her for that again, right? It's just lifelong I'll be doing this.
The Muddaubers Workshop is just one of several cultural and artistic programs run by the Museum of the Cherokee People. The museum also hosts events related to Cherokee history, genealogy, and language, as well as other traditional crafts like basket weaving. Dakota believes that maintaining cultural traditions is an important responsibility for contemporary members of the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians.
Because of colonization and systematic oppression, by all accounts, Cherokee people shouldn't have culture. We should be absorbed into American identity, but we do. And we do because people fought to have these things. That's worth something.
Dakota says pottery is especially symbolic because it's an art form that makes use of the land itself.
We as Cherokee people believe that we originated here, that we're of this land, that we're of this place, and this is where our origins as people are. And it's just this interconnected relationship that we have to land that I think is the most important part of the way that Cherokee art is done and is created.
Historical Cherokee potters used local clays and built their vessels by hand. They'd roll clay into coils, join them together, and hit them with a wooden paddle to strengthen and lengthen the walls of the pot. Engravings on the paddles were transmitted to the clay surface, serving to both decorate and strengthen the pieces. Once dried, the pots were heated into hard ceramic, either in the coals of an open fire or in a pit dug into the earth. While the pottery was highly decorative, it was made to be used. Cooking pots and storage containers were especially common. So were ceramics with ceremonial purposes like effigy pots and fire pots. Dakota says that in the Muddauber's workshop, Tara emphasizes these historical methods and designs while also promoting experimentation.
She fully respects our ancestral practices when it comes to ceramics, and then at the same exact time will completely encourage somebody to go totally off the rails of what traditional Cherokee pottery is.
Dakota and Levi say this emphasis on innovation is especially important for Cherokee artists, who often face pressure to fit within what is considered Indian or traditional.
It's so unfair because we're alive and we're living people, and one of the signs of a living people is that culture changes over time. Language changes over time. Ceramics change over time. That is a part of being a living people.
Any Cherokee person that gets into pottery should learn the traditional way, and I mean from start to finish. And then once you have that understanding and that base knowledge, then it's like, okay, push it further. Let's see what else we can do with it.
Dakota says balancing traditional pottery with contemporary innovation echoes an important principle in Cherokee culture.
There's this concept that whatever you do as a Cherokee person, that it's not about you. It's about the 7 generations that came before you, honoring those 7 generations that came before you, and then building for the 7 generations that are going to come after you.
At the age of 36, Levi is a proud representative of the next generation of Cherokee potters. He's already started assisting Tara with her classes.
The whole thing is that then whatever I learn, I come back and share with whoever is willing to listen and learn. It's kind of been full circle to go from student to helper to hopefully teacher one day.
Levi's passion for ceramics is also tied to a sense of responsibility to his community. Like Tara, he wants to reclaim pottery practices that were undermined in the wake of colonization and targeted cultural oppression.
My age group and a little younger, in their 20s, there's this passion and this sense of urgency just to learn, to bring all these things back.
Levi hopes that where we're sitting, in a picnic shelter on a green patch of land, can be part of that reclamation. He's planning to develop this field into a community art compound. He recently purchased the land with the help of local and regional organizations. We walk to the small creek that runs parallel to the road. Levi points out a clay deposit in the creek bed that he recently discovered.
I noticed there was some gray clay, so I was like, well, hopefully the vein kind of comes up. So I got to digging around, and wish I had a shovel here, but...
Levi digs his fingers into the wet earth, pointing to a clump of gray amid the brown dirt.
Here we go, there's a good piece right here. That gray right there.
Back at the picnic shelter, a small wood-fire kiln is halfway completed. Levi removes a blue tarp to reveal the structure, which is built from white and brown fire bricks. In addition to the kiln, Levi plans to have a space for pit firing and areas for processing clay, dug from the surrounding land. This clay paradise will also be used to cultivate materials for other crafts like river cane for basket weaving and native plants for natural dyes. Levi hopes the compound will play a role in maintaining the histories and practices that are vital to Cherokee life.
It's not just important to learn about pottery and clay, but all of it. If we're all doing our part, then all that stuff will come back to us.
For the Center for Rural Strategies and Living Traditions, I'm Anya Patron-Slepian.
You've been listening to Living Traditions on the Rural Remix podcast feed. Music on today's episode is from Jarrett Wildcat. Living Traditions is a production of the Center for Rural Strategies. Tune in next week for part 3 of Mud in the Blood, where we'll hear about a group of potters outside of Marshall, North Carolina, who use a wood kiln to fire their work. Thanks for listening.